Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot and a member of the PMDG 777 beta team. Today we are going to do our first flight with the updated PMDG 777 and this is gonna be quite the flight. We're standing here in Dallas, there's a major thunderstorm right over us right now and it's probably gonna stay until our departure, so I'm really looking forward to flying her through all of this. But I'd say it may be a little bit too wet outside here for my taste, so why don't you follow me inside and we make our way to the flight deck of our 777-200ER by American Airlines from Dallas to Tokyo Narita. So, a lovely little 13.5-hour flight that we are going to do today, and I'd say we are just gonna get right into this one. Now, the recent PMDG update really covers a lot of stuff in this airplane, so I don't want to go over all these things in their particulars, but instead what we are going to do is we will be exploring the airplane right as we come along in a normal A to B flight. So basically in the same situation that you guys as flight simmers would find yourself in when you are operating the aircraft. Okay then, I'd say we are not going to lose any time, but instead we are going to get right into this by having a look at our flight plan, and here it is. So we are going to depart Dallas and then we have more or less a straight line all the way to Tokyo Narita. The significant weather chart tells us that we do have some occasional CBs here close to Dallas, and that's exactly what's going over the field right now. Now, from there, crossing a couple of jet streams that are opposing us on the way over, but overall good weather conditions, maybe a couple bumps associated with those jet streams. Now, from here on, we have the arrival in Tokyo. That one's following that area number 2 there, which we can see is moderate turbulence. So for about the last, let's call it, maybe 2-3 hours, we'll probably be right within the turbulence. Now, for our airport weather, and that is where things are getting funny right now. Dallas reports 360 at 15, gust 22. That's down the runway, so not a problem, but heavy thunderstorm rain. And the weather is right over the airport over here, which you can probably hear. Now, lightning observed from the ceiling, east, northeast, basically everywhere around the field. So yeah, welcome to Dallas. Now, from here on, we are heading out to Tokyo Narita, which is also rather funny at the moment. 170 at 21, gust 37, and for our estimated arrival time, we're looking at 170 at 18, gust 30. So, again, some lovely thunderstorm, or at least some lovely storms over there as well. At least no thunderstorms over in Tokyo right now. So we do have a takeoff alternate here in whatever that airport actually is. Weather is fantastic, so that's alright. And then our alternate in Tokyo Haneda, well, is rather funny as well. So the entire Tokyo area is not all that nice. Now, we do have the Chubu Centre International Airport as another alternate, and over there the weather is completely good. Is that Nagoya? I think it is, isn't it? So there's that. In terms of ETOPS, Anchorage is fantastic. New Chitose is a little cloudy over there, but with the level of automation that the 777 is capable of, no problem at all. Now for the OFP, we are going to depart Dallas at 16:15, and an on-time departure is indeed going to result in an on-time, well, arrival, almost at least. You can see just about landing just about when we're supposed to be on block, so it's alright. Our weights are not critical, and for all the Europeans here, remember these are freedom units, pounds. So, cruising in level 320 at first, up to level 400 in the end of the flight as we are burning some gas. Now with all of that in mind, let's go right down and have a quick look. So, for our destination alternates, looking at, I think that was Nagoya, I'm not 100% sure. Looking at that airport, which had good weather, that's £3,000 extra fuel. Now, the weather at our destination isn't very good either, so probably want to take fuel for an extra approach. So that's going to be £5,000 on top, plus the 3,000 for the other alternate. So we're looking at £8,000 on top, and in order to transport that, we need another roughly £2,000. So call it £10,000 on top. So we're at 222.6 plus 1,000 for taxi, so 223. If we call that 234 I think we're completely on the safe side here. So 234 it is. 234,000 pounds of fuel for our 13.5-hour flight. Alright then, let's take a seat on the captain's seat of our 777. Scheduled off block is in 20 minutes, so let's go ahead and get going. We are going to import our flight plan from SimBrief down here, and then let's go right down into the weight and balance app. Now this is all supposed to be in pounds over here, and the same over here, and for our fuel 234,000 pounds, like that, 77% fuel. And why does this tell me that we're going over the maximum? There's something wrong. That's better. For a moment I was like, hold on a second, we are not above the maximum takeoff weight here. We had more than enough margin with that fuel decision. Okay, anyway, now it's set. 234,000 pounds are on board of our 777. So with that done, let's go ahead and order boarding from GSX, and then we can go ahead and start to prepare our airplane for today's service. So, starting with a couple of basics over here, let's go ahead and have a look. The engine oil quantity is full. Then we got the hydraulics, which are full. APU is operating. Oxygen at 1850 is good. And the oxygen test is looking good on this side, on this side, on this side, and on... Is that not simulated? That was simulated in the past. Okay. They take my oxygen mask away. Alright. Well, so noted. Okay, so that good stuff is done. Then let's do a recall and go over all of those ICAS messages here, which are all looking good. Then let's take the status on the left side, the doors on the right side, and with that we are ready to go and start our aircraft setup. So, let's go up here. ADRU on, voice recorder on, broadband system is on, emergency exit lights are on, and the refueling is complete, so we are going to turn those fasten seatbelt signs on as well. So, with all of that done, we can head right down into our flight plan and start setting our 777 up for today's flight. So it's a 777-200 with a Rolls-Royce Trent 800 engines. The nav database is up to date. Then we still gotta wait for the IRS to initialize. Here we go. And that's inserted. Route data request from SimBrief. Select that, please. That's on the way. American 61, Dallas to Tokyo. That's looking good so far. Okay, until that thing has finished initializing, we can go ahead and go down to the comm page, and we are looking for the ATIS for Kilo, Delta, Foxtrot, and Whiskey. Uplinks here, so noted, but let me enter that first. From say intentions and send. Okay, route uplink load, and then let's head up here again. We need a couple of departure charts, please, from Dallas. So here's the airport chart, and then we also need the parking gates, please. Which are those, and then we do need a SID, which is the Hewlett departure. Not looking for any text. Here it is, Hewlett 2. Alright, and that is noted. So, let's see, here's the ATIS. Dallas Fort Worth, information Delta, departing runways 36 right for us most likely, 360 at 12, thunderstorms with rain, mist, view 400 bro 1000, overcast 1700 CB, temperature 18, altimeter 2999R5. So like this. Alright, good. Well then, let's go ahead and get going. So, departure, runway 36 right, and we got the Hewlett 2 departure, no transition, and for the arrival we are looking at runway 16 left for the time being with the ILS Zulu approach, and the Supok November arrival, which is this one, and for the transition let's just cheat and see what we got over here, and there's Norma. Okay, and we'll take Norma. Okay, activate, execute, copy, and then let's go ahead and cross-check our standard instrument departure. So, runway 36 right, straight out towards Haskell. And we go straight out to Haskell. That's maximum 240 above 5000, left to Louis. Then we continue via Piglet, Muty, and Udat. Alright, that's quite easy. Initial climb, top altitude 10,000. So let's just pre-select 10.1. And that's it. Alright, all looking good. SID is checked. MSA 3.6 is noted. Then we got that stuff. So bring me my status page again, please. And then we can continue with loading the wind data. Execute. Then we can do the same for the descent forecast uplink. Here it is. Progress page 5,688 nautical miles. And 5,685 is filed, so that's absolutely perfect. Okay, nothing on the RadNav page, and we'll go with the airport on the fix info, 25-mile ring around that. Here we go. So, transition altitude 18,000 is correct, and now for our performance data, accept that uplink please. Then we can quickly cross-check what we got down here. So, alternate 9.3, final 5.9, so that's 15.2, and I am going to increase that by 3000 in order to have the other alternate, so we're going to take 18.2. Like that. Flight level 320, cost NX80, minimum fuel temperature minus 37, which is correct since we have Jet A fuel which freezes as minus 40. We always use 3 degrees more than that. Cruise CG 30 is looking good. That is looking good. Then we most definitely have a wet runway for our takeoff, and 1500 shall be fine with me. Alright, and then we just need to cross-check our route, but I'll leave that to the first officer, and I'm not gonna go bother with that. The only thing that I am gonna bother with is our oceanic waypoint, so let's go ahead and have a look at those. So, we got 58 north, 160 west. Let's see about that. That's 58 north, 160 west. Perfect. Then we got 57 north, 170 west. And that's 57 north, 170 west. And that's the only 2 oceanic waypoints we got by the coordinates. The rest is all database stuff. Okay, nice. So, route is copied and saved. Then performance in it over here, route over there. Just as a gentle reminder, you do have to cross-check something. And with that, we are done with our FMS. So, let's go right up here. Flight deck, setup. It's going to be a fairly quick one. So, everything's set up here and down here. So, checklists, reset all. Then comms, we got that weather which is checked, and that's all we need down here. Then the same thing for you on this side, and going down here 29905 auto brake RTO, parking brake is set. Then let's find a couple of frequencies. Alright, so departure 8 is 135925, we don't need that. Clearance 12825, we definitely do need that. So 12825 is set, and ground over here, well, delivery is gonna tell us. If not, we are at terminal Delta. So the ramp for Delta is 129625. And the ground next to that is the west ground 12185. Like this. Okay, weather radar, most important tool of the entire day. Now, we would... Nope, not that one. Alright, we would definitely have a third pilot, so gonna tune that as well. Then we need 1 to 1.5 on our COM2. Alright, and the transponder is set, and with that everything is set down here. Alright, that's all looking fantastic. Then we are done with our pre-flight procedures. But tell me, is that standby instrument? That's displaced to the right, isn't it? Alright, that's going to become a bug report. In any case, that airplane is otherwise looking good and airworthy. Let's see what GSX is doing. Well underway. Alright, then we can start with our departure briefing, please. So, for our takeoff, we're departing Dallas runway 36 right. We're via the HU.2 departure. Initial climb 10,000, MSA 3,800. And extra fuel and time, we got 10,000 pounds, giving us approximately 45 minutes. Now, for our taxi, we have no hotspots over here. The stop margin is going, well, it's actually unknown, but not going to be too much here. So, it looks like it stopped raining temporarily. Let's hope that they're gonna resume ground services here, loading our cargo in that time. Okay, so yeah, stop margin is currently unknown, but it's not going to be much. And for our engine out, sit straight at 25 miles to 4,000, but we are going to check everything carefully on the weather radar before departure anyway. Now, our standard sit straight ahead, 240 knots is the limit, should be no problem with our flap retraction, and I've got nothing special in that sense. I've got nothing non-standard here. Let's talk about threats. The weather is definitely one, even though it's currently moved away from the airport itself. There's still going to be quite a bit of thunderstorms in the vicinity, probably in the departure path. You do remember that ATIS, or that weather report from the flight plan, which said northeast, lightning observed, and so on. So that's definitely something that we are going to have to pay attention to today. What we are going to do is we'll not rush the departure. We line up, we check the weather radar, see what's on there, and then we decide whether we go or whether we have to hold, okay? Apart from that, wind shear escape maneuvers, should it be required, whoever notices it first calls wind shear, firewall the thrust levers, disengage the auto throttle, rotate up to 15 degrees, and thereafter follow the flight directors. If the autopilot is on, we can keep it on. If the autopilot is not on yet, we are going to fly that thing manually. We can go all the way up to the PLI if necessary. Now, once we're out of wind shear, whoever notices first is going to make the call, clear of wind shear, and when that happens, we are going to see where we are. We are going to ensure that we are not going to overspeed the landing gear and the flaps, which we leave in position until clear of wind shear. And that's pretty much it. Do you have any questions or suggestions on the briefing? No? Alright, then that's our departure briefing complete. I do believe the IRS alignment is complete. Yes, it is. Then pre-flight checklist, please. Oxygen, chest at 100%, flight instruments, heading 107, altimeter 29905, reading 580, set left and set right. Pre-flight checklist complete. So it started raining again. Yeah, so be it. Can't change it. Let's see though if we can get an updated ATIS in the meantime. So KDFW, insert, say intentions, sent. We'll see if something is available. If not, then we'll just have to help ourselves. Oh, here's the ATIS already. That was quick. Dallas ATIS Delta. No, that's the same we had previously. Thunderstorm with rain. Alright, so be it. Touchdown zone lines currently intermittent. Monitor for updates. Okay, that's all copied. Thank you. Okay, let's go ahead and request our IFR clearance. And I just want to try something new over here. Apparently, Say Intentions had an update where you can simply lock on a KUSA and then get your clearance. Let's try that. So KUSA, lock on send. In the real world, when you send that and once it establishes connection, which it usually takes some 30 seconds or so, once it's done that, it's going to send you your PDC via CPDLC message. So here's lock on accepted. Thank you very much. And com established with KUSA. Alright, let's just wait a moment and see if our PDC is going to arrive or not. If not, then we do it the conventional way via the departure clearance request over here. So facility KUSA, gate is Delta 29, and the Asus, what did we say, is Delta. Alright, looks like there is nothing coming over KUSA, that's fine, then we are just gonna send this. So, departure clearance request is out, then let's go ahead and let's just go ahead and log off again so that we don't mess anything up over here. So, disconnecting from KUSA. And ATC-COM terminated with KUSA. That's fine. Alright, was worth a try.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard American
Okay.
61, departing from Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport.
So, let's see how boarding is progressing.
Airport.
Completed. I like it.
And I'm joined by my wonderful colleague.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning from FlightX. This is your captain speaking. My name is Emmanuel, and in the name of American Airlines, welcome aboard our Boeing 777 on our flight to Tokyo. Our flight time is calculated as 13 hours and 30 minutes, expecting a mostly smooth ride, a little bit of turbulence on the departure over here. Currently some thunderstorms are moving across the field. Obviously we will delay our departure until the weather is clear and good for our flight. Now for the time being, just sit back, relax and enjoy the flight with us. We'll get back to you with the latest weather when we start our approach into Tokyo. Until then, make yourself comfortable on board and enjoy the flight with us. We are now finishing up the last paperwork and awaiting the development of the weather before we start the pushback. So please bear with us as we are doing everything to maximize your safety. Thank you very much for your attention, and again, welcome aboard. Alright, so request being processed. Stand by. Alright, doing that. In the meantime, prepare position for pushback and departure, please. And start that. Well, APU is running anyway, even easier. Alright, then let's just go down here and remove all that ground clutter. So, vehicles remove, doors close. So, all the outside doors are closed. Cabin crew, arms lights. Here we go. Okay, just waiting for the cargo doors, which should be closing as we speak. Then, I would say we can start with the performance. Why did the cargo doors just reopen? No, close, close. That's looking better. Alright, so ground operations are done. Then let's go to weight and balance. Zero fuel weight, 391.9. Okay, gross weight 325.8, and that is checked with the takeoff CG at 27. Okay, Dallas Fort Worth 36 right. Don't need you just yet. The runway is most definitely wet. Shall we actually go standing water here, just to be on the safe side? So takeoff weight was 626 and the CG 27. And finally for the weather, that's no response, is it? Probably just gonna request a new departure clearance here. We might have confused it with logging on and off to CPDLC. So let's just go ahead and try that again. And I'm gonna do that just now so that we don't lose any time here. So 8 is Delta, facility KUSA, and the gate is Delta 29. Alright, we'll just set that one more time, see what's gonna happen, and then we can return to setting up our departure. So wind 360 at 12, temperature 18, 29905. So that's 360 at 12, 18, and 29.905. Okay, calculate all that. Full takeoff, flaps 5. Okay, here's an IFR clearance. So clearance being processed, stand by. And here's the IFR clearance. I'm just gonna accept that. In the meantime, we continue down here. So we set full takeoff thrust, flaps 5, CG 27, and the speeds are gonna be 158, 165, 171. Alright, like that. Trim 6 units is checked as well. Alright, perfect. So, that's everything done. IFR clearance. Cleared to Tokyo via the HUDAT-2 departure runway 36 right. And there's 36 right. HUDAT-2, maintain 10,000. Like that, and departure 118.1. Pre-selected. Alright, squawk 1422. It's 1422. Alright, excellent. And with that, our clearance is on board. So we can close this. And then let's go ahead and... doors are all closed as well by now. Let's go ahead and get our airplane ready for departure. Ground from cockpit. Hi there, please confirm that all doors and hatches are closed, the ground equipment is removed, and the bypass pin is installed. That is all confirmed. After that, we'll call for pushback. Stand by. Can we pressurize hydraulics? Yes, you're clear to pressurize. Roger that. So, what do we have here? 171. LNAV, VNAV, runway 36 has a runway heading at 356. Like that, and initial climb is 10,000. So, right system.
Envoy 3831 cleared for push and start.
Hydraulic pumps on, everything's set. 6 units
Envoy
trim.
3831. Envoy 3928 request pushback. Envoy 3928 cleared for push and start. Pushback approved.
Right, that's 6 units trim. Close that door and off we go. Before start checklist, please. That's flight deck door, closed and locked. MCP, V2171, heading 356, altitude 10,000. Takeoff speeds, V1 158, VR 165, V2 171. CDU pre-flight complete, trim 6 units, 0 and 0. Taxi and takeoff briefing completed, holding a beacon. Dallas ground, American 61 heavy request pushback and startup. So, that's actually not looking too bad right now.
American 61 heavy, pushback and startup approved. Tail northeast.
Pushback and startup approved, tail northeast, American 61 heavy. Okay, before start checklist complete, ground from flight deck. So, push and starter approved, tail northeast, and that means facing south. Okay, release park and brakes. Park and brake released. Thank you, start the pushback and standing by for engine start. Roger that.
38905 ready to taxi.
Right, gonna start the pushback?
Envoy 38905, runway 35 left taxi via spot
Now you are.
0 Golf 5, Foxtrot Alpha Lima Echo Romeo. Runway 35 left taxi via spot 110 Golf 5, Foxtrot Alpha Lima Echo Romeo, Envoy 38905.
Alright. So there is still quite a bit of weather left, but right now we got caught a bit of sunshine. That's the weather at our holding point. Well, let's see what we're going to be able to do with this. So, looks like the GSX update is, at least for now, not running over the marshaller. You know that is getting close down there. Nah. Bingo! He ran over him. He ran over him. Okay. That would have been too good. Okay then, we're ready for engine starts. Numbers 1 and 2.
Oxygen masks will drop
Envoy 38905, give way to the company Embraer 170 on your left.
Remember, we are flying the 777 with the Rolls-Royce engines here, so we can actually start them both at the same time. The pushback is completed, set brakes. Brake set.
6227, request push and start clearance.
Inflated only after leaving the
Skywest 6227, pushback approved.
are available. Floor level lighting will guide you.
Pushback approved. Skywest 6227.
There are a total of 8 exits on this aircraft.
Envoy 4136, ready to taxi.
Rear. The nearest exit may be
Envoy 4136, runway 35 left.
Okay.
110, Golf 5, Foxtrot, Alpha Lima, Echo Romeo.
So that is actually looking quite good down there.
Runway 35 left taxi via spot 110, Golf 5, Foxtrot, Alpha Lima, Echo Romeo, Envoy 4136.
notify the crew so we can retrieve.
American 2558, ready for push and start.
The pocket contains all details.
American 2558, pushback approved.
Pleasant flight.
Alright, ground. We have 2 good starts. You're clear to disconnect. Show me the pin on the left side and have a good day. Bye-bye.
2558.
Tuck, tow bar.
Ready to taxi. Envoy 3862, runway 35 left taxi via spot 122, Whiskey Kilo, Foxtrot, Alpha Lima, Echo Romeo.
So, looks like the backup generator fixed itself. That's good.
35 left taxi via spot 122.
Okay, and there's a marshaller holding a pin. Excellent.
Echo Romeo, Envoy
Flight control track.
American 2264, ready to
Full up. Full down.
2264,
Neutral.
runway 35 left taxi via
Full left.
42, Echo Lima, Lima,
Full
Echo
right.
Romeo.
Neutral. Rudder.
Runway 35 left taxi via spot 42.
Full left.
Echo Lima, Lima, Echo Romeo.
Full right.
2264.
And neutral. B4 taxi checklist.
6232 request push.
Anti-ice, auto, recall, checked, flight controls, checked, ground equipment, clear, B4 taxi checklist complete.
Pushback approved. Skywest 6232.
American 61 Heavy, request taxi.
5644, ready to taxi.
Blue Streak 5644. Runway.
And of course the Blue Streak gets taxi first.
Kilo 11,
Because why wouldn't it?
American 61 Heavy. Runway 36 right taxi via spot 132. Golf 7 Foxtrot. Whiskey Romeo.
36 right via spot 132, Golf 7, Foxtrot, Whiskey, Romeo, American 61 Heavy. Alright, let's see what that looks like. Spot 132 to the right, Golf 7, Foxtrot, all the way to Whiskey, Romeo. Alright, that's easy. And clear on the left side, and we're clear on the right side.
Lima, Echo Romeo.
Okay, park and brake us off.
35 left taxi via spot 42.
Now, let's see, we're pretty heavy today.
Romeo, American
Looks like we do need a bit of thrust to get it moving.
1341 ready to taxi. American 1341, runway 35 left taxi via spot 11 Kilo, Echo Juliet, Lima, Echo Romeo.
What are you doing here?
Runway 35 left taxi via spot 11.
That is a bit more thrust than I would have liked, and it's still not moving.
1341.
Here we go. That's better. Alright, heavy aircraft.
American 281, runway 35 left taxi via spot 14 Kilo, Kilo 6, Lima, Echo Romeo.
Okay, so what spot is that? 132? Yeah, that is 132, that's ours.
Kilo 6, Lima, Echo Romeo, American 281. American 3291, pushback approved.
Okay, then via Golf 7, which is next to the right over here.
83 ready for pushback.
Yep, that's Golf 7 on a Foxtrot.
Pushback and start.
The Embraer is waiting for us.
383.
Or is it?
Volunteer 355.
Yes, it is.
Ready to taxi.
Even though probably a little bit too close.
Volunteer 3552, runway 35 left taxi via spot 142, Whiskey.
But look at that, our wing would just go right over the Embraer.
Runway
Volume tier, that's a nice call sign.
Taxi.
Wonder what that is, probably some charity?
Envoy 3874, runway 36 right.
Alright, cabin ready.
10 Golf 5 Foxtrot Whiskey Romeo.
So let's both go into the weather radar today.
36 right, taxi via spot 110, Golf 5 Foxtrot Whiskey Romeo, Envoy 3874.
Yeah. Let's see that on the large scale.
SkyWest 646.
That doesn't actually look too bad. The weather is blowing southbound, so I guess in case we need to do an immediate return, that could be a bit of a problem, but it's only green and yellow for the time being, so that should be okay. Alright, then to review our takeoff briefing, it's going to be a left-sea takeoff, runway 36 right, flaps 5, noise abatement procedure number 2 with the acceleration in 1500, wet runway, speeds 58, 65, 71, and the sits straight ahead, left turn out, initially 240 knots maximum, and we should be able to retract the flaps for that. Well, I've got nothing special, I've got nothing non-standard, and that's pretty much it. Any questions? No? Lovely.
Blue Streak 5139er ready to taxi.
Okay, B4 takeoff checklist. B4 takeoff checklist complete. Okay, so we go all the way to Whiskey Romeo, which is at the very end.
Kilo 11 Lima Echo Romeo Blue Streak 5139er.
Are those gentlemen going to de-icing over there, or what are they doing?
Echo Whiskey Juliet Golf spot 109er. Echo 2 Echo Whiskey Juliet Golf spot 109er.
Not 100% sure, but certainly looks like it.
American 2721, give way to the Envoy Embraer 170 on your right.
Or they're turning away to runway 35, that could be as well.
2721.
Well, in that case we're going to be number 1 for the departure, so I'm not going to complain about it. Now, the new 777 update does come with revised ground physics here, and I gotta say, it does feel nicer. The only thing that confused me a bit was the initial attempt to taxi out, where we really went 40% N1. It didn't move, but on the second attempt it started moving at about, I don't know, 26, 30%-ish? So that was quite alright. Yeah. And ever since, I gotta say, driving those turns feels really nice. And, well, now we gotta see how it's gonna behave when we are taking the next couple of turns.
Runway 35 left taxi via spot 42 Echo Lima Lima Echo Romeo American 329er 1.
Okay, we go to Whiskey Romeo, which is the last of those taxiways.
American 61 Heavy, contact tower on 124.15.
124.15 American 61 Heavy, see ya. Alright, can you dial that up for me, please? Dallas Tower, American 61 Heavy, ready for departure.
American 61 Heavy, Dallas Tower, runway 36 right, winds 360 at 20, gusting 28. RNAV Hazel, cleared for takeoff.
RNAV Hazel, runway 36 right, clear takeoff, American 61 Heavy. Alright, the approach area is clear, well, except for the weather. Now we'll line up, and then we'll see what the departure area weather is gonna say. Now once again, do note how lovely we can take those turns now. No abrupt movements like there used to be before that. I like this.
On runway 36 right.
Okay, let's stop here for a second. Weather. Looks pretty clear. The only weather there is outside our flight path. Alright. So, are you ready? Take off. Stabilized. Set takeoff thrust. Takeoff thrust set, indications normal.
89.
Tracked. So let's see how that new fly-by-wire is gonna feel. The rotation actually feels pretty excellent, to be honest. Very smooth getting up there. Positive climb, gear up. So now, what is the 777 supposed to do? Basically, the airplane, when it is in trim, is behaving similar to an Airbus.
61 Heavy, contact departure.
Over to departure, American 61 Heavy. Departure American 61 Heavy, passing 3000, correction 2700. Alright, so the entire trick to flying the 777 is that you just gotta keep it in trim. When it is in trim...
Heavy, Lone Star departure, radar contact, climb and maintain 10,000 direct Hazel.
Climb maintain 10,000 American 61 Heavy. American 61, request left turn heading 320 to avoid weather. Right, heading select.
American 61 Heavy, turn left heading 320 approved.
Left 320 approved, American 61 Heavy. So yeah, the trick to flying the 777 is just to keep it in trim. When you do that, it flies really nicely. Now, the trick is that you have to keep it in trim. Trimming, approximately 5 to 10 knots for every 1 second that you trim it. So let's go ahead and retract those flaps to 1. Trim it forward for a bit. I'm just going to let go of the controls. Let's see what it's going to do.
American 61 Heavy, climb and maintain flight level 210.
Trim a little bit further. Climb maintain level 210, American 61 Heavy. Trim a bit further. Flaps up. Speed check, flaps up. Okay, flight level 210 check. And look at how nicely it flies. You basically don't need any control column input as long as you keep it on the trim speed. Now you're not supposed to fly the airplane on the trim, but you can see how you get that. When it is in trim, you stick the nose somewhere and then it just stays there. Okay, so why was none of this on the weather radar on the ground? I would not have taken off. Well, this way, only way around is over here. American 61 Heavy, request heading 360. And I'm not just requesting it, I'm doing it. Because I'm not flying into the red.
Right, heading 360 approved.
Heading 360 approved, American 61 Heavy. Okay. So yeah, look at that. No control column movement, dead stable aircraft, because we are on the trim speed. Okay, now let's put the autopilot on in order to get around that weather. We have flaps up, no lights. After takeoff checklist. After takeoff checklist complete.
Just letting you know that about 3 minutes ago, we had an aircraft report light turbulence during descent at flight level 70.
That's copied. We got light turbulence as well, American 61. Okay, so what does that stuff look like outside? No, not very nice. And yeah, we got that turbulence as well. Alright, let's see if we can slip through anywhere over there. We're at full climb thrust already, not much else we can do.
American 61 Heavy, climb and maintain flight level 240.
Climb maintain, flight level 240, American 61 Heavy. Set, 240 checked, VNAV. Okay, for the time being this heading is good. And we'll have to see whether we gotta slip through somewhere over there. or over there. Definitely preferred over here, but hey, that's what we got the extra fuel for. So I'm just gonna open up that speed window, just so that we do not accelerate when passing 10,000. But look at this, man. Rate of climb is not exactly great. Might have to slip through over there and then take the long way around. Is that one? No, that looks more like this. Okay, one last check, but no, we can't get out on the left.
6232 contact Fort Worth Center on 135.17.
Then it's gonna be the right.
Switching to Fort Worth Center on 135.175G, SkyWest 6232.
American 61, request heading 090 to avoid weather.
American 61 heavy turn right heading 090 approved.
Heading 090 approved, American 61. And can we make that heading 060? Plus that definitely looks better. American 61, request heading 060.
American 61 heavy turn right heading 060 approved.
Heading 060 approved, American 61 heavy. See? This is exactly why I wanted to check the weather radar on the ground, because I did absolutely not want to take off into this. And now we're right in it. Welcome to the absolutely useless Asobo weather radar. And we're flying into the completely wrong direction here. But there's literally nothing we can do about that right now. So, in the real world, I wouldn't trust anything on this radar except for what we see in front here, because anything over here would probably just be shielded by this CB over here. And this one is definitely where it is. Okay, maybe a left turn, going through that. American 61, request a left turn 030.
American 61 heavy direct takeoff Venice filed, please.
Unable, request a left-hand turn heading 030 to avoid American 61.
American 61 heavy turn left heading 030 approved.
Heading 030 approved, American 61.
American 61 heavy left turn heading 030 approved. Maintain separation from American 61.
Yeah, roger. Now let's call it another 10 degrees here. Just to stay clear of that thing. So, when can we go left? I mean, as long as we avoid this, I think we can start turning left now. American 61, request left turn heading 350.
American 61 heavy left turn heading 350 approved.
Left 350 approved, American 61. Okay, 350. Okay, then I think there is no sense climbing fast right now, so let's go ahead and close that speed window, start the acceleration. Gonna keep the lights on, definitely gonna keep the seatbelts on, and I am just gonna tell the cabin crew as well here.
Airport 3928, contact Fort
You're
Worth
ATC.
Center on 133.3.
133.3 for Envoy 3928. Good day.
Hi, it's Emmanuel. Just to let you know, we are currently flying around a couple of thunderstorms, probably gonna leave you seated for the next 10 or 15 minutes or something the likes. Make sure the passengers are seated as well, please. Could get a little rough here while we're going through this. I'll let you know when there is any update. Thank you.
American 3291, contact Fort Worth Center
Okay,
on
so far so good. So I'm hoping that we're gonna get through this.
135.175.
Looks like we're getting out like that. But then again, I wouldn't trust the weather radar for anything shown beyond this, so we'll see. Yeah, probably left another 20 degrees. American 61, request heading 320.
American 61 Heavy, turn right heading 320 approved.
Yeah, left heading 320 approved, American 61 Heavy. She said right, I don't care. Gonna turn left. Right, let's not go too fast in that turbulence. I think 300 knots is fine. And I think like that we're getting out of that stuff. Man. This is definitely not what I hoped for with this flight, but certainly have to say that it looks great. By maintaining flight level 320, American 61 Heavy. Flight level 320 blue. Well, that was Airbus. Set 320 checked. VNAV. That's Boeing. Alright, so
61 Heavy, contact Fort Worth Center on 127.6.
127.6, American 61 Heavy. Fort Worth Center, American 61 Heavy, heading 320, climbing flight level 320. And let's make it heading 300.
American 61 Heavy, Fort Worth Center, good afternoon.
American 61 Heavy, request heading 300 to avoid weather. American 61, request heading 290.
American 61 Heavy, heading 300 approved.
Okay, heading 300. Any chance for 290, American 61?
American 61 Heavy, heading 290 approved.
Heading 290 approved, American 61 Heavy. Is that standard? Standard cross check, passing flight level 184. Now. Checked. Alright. I think we are on a good heading now. Let's see, we didn't forget the after takeoff checklist, that's good. And looking at the close picture here, we are pretty clear on this heading. Looking at the large picture, we are getting out on this one as well. Okay, that is good. Well done, guys, that was an interesting departure. Most definitely did not expect this, but hey, might have cost us a few minutes. Let's see, can we do direct NOSAF? Yeah, that would work. American 61 Heavy, request to proceed direct NOSAF. Request to proceed direct NOSAF.
American 61 Heavy, proceed direct Moza approved.
Direct Moza approved, American 61 Heavy. Okay, LNAV available. LNAV.
American 61 Heavy, you're talking to center, contact approach.
What? No. Alright. I think with that we're out of the worst stuff, but definitely gonna keep the seatbelt signs on for the time being. But yeah, I'd say for now, sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight with us. Gonna turn the belts off when it is appropriate later on. Just gonna wait a little bit longer until we're definitely clear of all that weather. But yeah, for now, sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight with us, and then I'll see you all when we hopefully have a little bit of better weather than this over in Tokyo. Tokyo approach, American 61 Heavy, descending altitude 4000 on the Supak November arrival.
American 61 Heavy, Tokyo approach. Good afternoon, cleared Norma transition. Expect the ILS Yankee runway 16 left approach into Narita.
Cleared Norma transition, expecting the ILS 16 left, American 61 Heavy. Okay then guys, I think we spoke too soon when we said that the weather might be fine over here 13 hours ago, because it is not. So looking outside you can already see what we're facing over here, and looking at the weather radar, that is only going to intensify. So overall, not so lovely weather conditions waiting for us here in Tokyo.
American 61, descend altitude 3,000 feet.
Descending altitude 3,000 feet, American 61. Set, 3,000 checked. Okay, so let's review, and let's also just... actually, I put the Asus into automatic uplink, so if there's anything new, then we would get it automatically. So, we've got runway 16 left and right, wind 160 at 15, gusting 27, and visibility 4 kilometers in rain, broken clouds 500, overcast in 1000, temperature 17, 2971, which is what we're descending on. So overall, really not the nicest type of weather that we are facing today, but it will be manageable. It's well within the limits of the 777, and it's coming from the front anyway. So the new fly-by-wire is going to be put to the test straight away. Okay then, so let's have a look into our fuel situation. We got 24.4 on arrival, and the minimum for the good alternate is 18.2. Now, let's go ahead and request that Asus real quick as well. That's Romeo, Juliet, Golf, Golf. Send that, please. So we end up with 6,000 pounds extra, and 6,000 pounds equals roughly 25 minutes of flight time. Alright, look at that. Chubut, Centrea is absolutely perfect weather. Absolutely perfect. Romeo 18, wind 100 at 7, visibility 2, few in 2300, scattered in 6000. So, beautiful. If we need to divert, then we know where to go to. So yeah, plenty of fuel for an extra approach over here in Tokyo. If that fails, our alternate is still reachable. Okay, and that's what I got for this. So let's go ahead and start the approach briefing, and with that I'm going to fill you in on how we're going to fly the approach itself. So we are flying the Supak North transition for the ILS approach, Romeo 16 left via No Man, and the MSA in the approach area is 4,000 feet. We're going down to a minimum of 335 feet, and in case of a go-around we will climb up to 8,000 feet. Now, extra fuel and time, approximately half an hour plus the furthest alternate, or respectively, oh not you, or respectively we've got, here we go, a moving armrest. Perfect. Okay, or respectively we have 2 missed approaches available if we decide to stick with Haneda. But for that, let's quickly collect the Haneda Asus as well. Probably not going to be much better. So, Romeo, Juliet, Tango, Tango. Asus, request, set. Okay, so we plan to fly the approach with flight director guidance, flaps 30, auto brakes 3, maximum reverse, and with that we have a stop margin of approximately 200 meters. Yeah, 2,500 available, 2,200 and some required, so 300 meter stop margin. We will get the runway to the right hand side, and as far as I can tell there are no hotspots for the taxi-in. We are vacating to the right and then pretty much straight away. Okay, there's one hotspot over here which is complex intersection area, so well careful when we are getting off that Romeo over here. Okay, yeah, apart from that, parking down here, so it's gonna be a fairly short taxi of 16 left. Okay, do you have any questions or suggestions on any of this? No? Beautiful, then that's our approach briefing completed. Okay, so the Tokyo Haneda weather is here as well. Wind 160 and 16. That's actually not too bad. So if it stays that way, we might be able to stay here in Tokyo rather than diverting elsewhere. We'll see, we'll see. Plenty of runways available everywhere. So I'm gonna take the detailed radar picture, and you can take the large picture, please. And then we are going through 10,000. Lights on, signs on, approach checklist. Altimeters, QNH 2971. Approach checklist complete. Alright, so far so good. Cabin crew, please take your seats for landing. Okay. So we've done about everything. The rest is no longer up to us. Now it's just down to how the weather is going to evolve and how things are going to work out over here. Should be easy. So now like 2,000 feet high. Let's go ahead and help it a bit. I did keep us high for as long as possible until we had to meet the altitude constraints ahead of us. Okay, cabin ready. Perfect. Just to keep us out of the weather for as long as possible, because this is definitely going to get bumpy. But yeah, not much we can do about that for now, so we'll just keep flying that approach and see where it's going to get us. Okay, overall weather, well, not much we can do about. Can't even really take any shortcuts on the approach or something that might get us out of the weather. There's traffic down there. See, 5 miles out, climbing. Might be best if we just continue the descent rapidly, just to clear that traffic. Speed VNAV path. You keep descending, please, otherwise we got a problem. So just to help us get down a bit quicker. Speed brake extended, yep, intentionally. What's that? Traffic over here? Does matter. TCAS should be active by now.
American 61, traffic at your 12
Yep, there it is.
miles. Same altitude, 737.
You noticed that very early. Okay, but we're clear. Yeah, he's 1,000 above us now. That was close. See him in these clouds? Probably not, huh? No. Of course not. Alright, that was worth a little bit of speed brake, and we may no longer be doing a continuous descent approach now, but better that than a continuous descent to the ground in parts. Alright, can we dim those weather returns? Yeah, that's better. I want to be able to read something off my displays here. Okay, good. So you guys can see it is a little bumpy over here already. The cabin crew's seated anyway. I'm just gonna give him a quick call, just to get him a heads up. Hi, Manuel here. Just to let you know, might be a little bit bumpy on the final approach, so please do ensure that everyone's seated, and most importantly, stay seated yourself, okay? Thank you. Okay, that's everything done.
American 61 Heavy, cleared for the ILS runway 16 left approach via Norma.
Cleared ILS 16 left via Norma, American 61 Heavy. Alright then, it may be a little rough weather here, but let's get some hand flying in. Because at the end of the day, we still want to see how that fly-by-wire system is behaving. Might not have picked the best route over here, but I just thought the weather would be interesting. So, as long as we're on speed, shouldn't need to do much with our yoke. So have a look at the yoke at the bottom of the screen here. Now the turn is getting a little bit tighter. We are cleared for the ILS. So that's the approach mode armed, and we have localizer capture. So except for the turbulence, we should not be climbing away here. And we have localizer capture. When you go above 25 degrees of bank, you need a little bit upstick in order to maintain the altitude. That's how Boeing designed the fly-by-wire. Alright, but overall it handles really smoothly. Really, really smoothly. I like that. I really do. Okay, let's start slowing down a bit. Flaps 1. Speed check, flap 1. Alright, now that we start going down, we need to pull a bit. And then just use the elevator trim in order to reduce the control column forces.
American 61, contact Narita Tower on 118.2.
118.2, American 61. Okay, I tell you what, we're flying. You do that, please. Just tune the frequency for me. Narita Tower, American 61 Heavy, ILS 16 left. Okay, flaps 5. Speed checked.
American 61 Heavy, Narita Tower, roger.
So, quite a bit of headwind here. That means we can intercept that glide slope without any concerns at all. Glide slope capture. $8,000 feet set. Okay, look at how stable it is. I like that. I'm really not doing a lot of inputs here. You can nicely see it. Yoke is pretty much completely neutral. The plane is simply maintaining the flight path, just like it should.
2500.
Terrain noted. So now we're losing a little bit of speed, so we'll have to trim a bit for that as well. Again, little bit of trim in, and the plane just keeps going. That is beautiful. So gear down, flaps 20.
Runway 16 left, cleared to land.
Runway 16 left, clear to land, American 61 Heavy. Okay. So, final approach speed gonna be 146 knots then, 5 knots addition to the VREF. Alright, flaps 30. Speed checked. And 146. Landing checklist. When ready. So it looks like we need roughly a level attitude here. Okay, landing checklist. Landing checklist complete. Checklist complete. Checked. Okay, wipers on.
Approaching 16 left.
Checked. So our engines are hard at work there. But auto throttle is doing quite the fine job. And manual pitch control and final is really easy here. Just gotta look outside a bit because we gotta see that runway. Alright, approach lights in sight.
100.
Checked.
Minimum.
Continue. Disregard that glide slope here.
50. 30. 20. 10.
Speed brakes up. Thruster is normal. %. 100 knots.
Meters remaining.
American 61.
80 knots.
Contact ground on 121.85.
100 remaining.
121.85, American 61. Manual brakes. Alright, welcome to Tokyo. Man, that was almost as bad as our departure. That was good weather on this flight, all around. Definitely our money earned. Narita ground, American 61 heavy, request taxi to the gate. Wow. That was an amazing flight.
American 61, taxi to Terminal 2 Gate 74 via Bravo 6 Kilo, Echo 2, Charlie, Echo 3, Papa. Good day.
Gate 74 via Bravo 6, Kilo, Echo 2, Charlie and Papa, American 61.
China Eastern 594, ready to taxi.
Okay, let's do that nice and slow.
China Eastern 594, runway 16 left, taxi via uniform, uniform 7, uniform, uniform.
All right.
Echo 5, Charlie, Echo
We'll
2,
keep
Kilo,
the
Bravo, Bravo 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Narita. Did you know that Narita
For the time being, we're going to keep the APU shut.
attracts millions of visitors each year? We appreciate you flying with American Airlines today. Please remain seated until we reach our final parking position. On behalf of your flight crew, thank you for flying with American Airlines. The local time is 2:58 p.m. For those with connecting flights, please note the following. Flight number AA 250 to Los Angeles departs at 3:20 p.m. from gate 51.
Okay, so let's get that parking chart.
70 to New York.
I said let's get the parking chart. Thank you. So, coming from up here, we're on the part that is about to turn to the right. So, probably is that this over here? I guess so, huh? I'll tell you what, fuck that, we're just gonna use the en route chart with a live taxi map, because that's so much easier. Okay, so we continue via Bravo 6, Kilo, Echo 2, Charlie, Papa. So Echo 2, well, this is exactly the hotspot, and I gotta agree, this is confusing. So, our instruction is Echo 2, Charlie, and then let's just see, where's Papa? Down here, okay. Echo 2, Charlie, Papa. Alright. So straight ahead and then second to the left. Yeah, that hotspot is confusing indeed. Good thing we looked at it. Alright, so we got gate number 74. That's probably terminal 2. Why is there no... Okay, then we take 72. Fine with me as well. No follow me. Handling by... I don't know. Okay, so on to Charlie, which is here. And then Papa is going to be the next to the right. Yeah, Papa next right. Alright, so we're going here. You can see how slow I'm taking the airplane. You can see the entire apron is contaminated over here. And it is a complex airport to taxi at. So I'm really slowing it down as much as possible. Okay. Rain seems to be intensifying even more right now. So, gate 72. It's down here, okay. So, Papa 2, and then at the end to the right. Alright. That sounds good. So, the weather radar is off. Let's start the APU.
Air China 9030 ready to taxi.
Air China 9030, runway 16 right taxi via Tango 30.
Okay, it looks like we're parking next to the company 787 over there.
Runway 16 right taxi via Tango 3 Sierra.
Even though I'm not sure where in relation to it. I'd say probably to the right of the 787. Yeah, definitely. Here's 73, and we're going in a 72, which is the next one. Okay, good. Lights off. And wipers off. Okay, there is our stand. And here we are. Okay, that doesn't look too shabby. The guidance system is on. 777-200 is on there. So, nice and slow now. One, 0, stop. Okay, parking brake set, APU running, and shutdown. Cabin crew, all doors in park. Alright. Man, that was an interesting one. That was a really interesting one. Okay, engine's running down. Yeah, that's looking good. Beacon is going off. Squawk machine off. And here we go. Alright, shutdown checklist. Park and brake. Set. Shutdown checklist complete. So, let's see. Status over here. Doors over there. Engine over here. Then let's go ahead and get ourselves some ground equipment, please. Set the trucks, connect the ground power, and then we can disarm all those doors. GSX, request deboarding. So let's see, oil quantity is still looking good. Let's do until under recall. All messages are expected, that's good. Hydraulic is good, no status messages, nothing over here, so nothing for the logbook. I like it. Then power is on, APU off, ADRU off, and we can keep the packs on as we're not gonna get any air conditioning unit. Alright, secure checklist, emergency lights, off, packs on, secure checklist complete. Alright, and all that stuff is expected as well. So, 13 hours and 25 minutes, but we made it, here we are. Welcome to Tokyo, my friends. Thank you very much for watching. I do hope you liked it. Leave your feedback in the comments underneath the video. Now, obviously, I would have loved to talk a little bit more about the fly-by-wire, but the weather just didn't offer us the opportunities to expect it. I didn't know it was that season already, thought that would only come in a couple of months, but hey, thank you very much for watching. As always, like, comment and subscribe, and if you really love what I'm doing on this channel, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me Coffee link in the video description below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all again on the next one.